Welcome back to day 18 of the Reprogram Yourself Challenge. I'm so excited that you are here. Today, we are talking about a topic that if you've been in probably any of my programs before, or you've heard me teach, you have heard me talk about this concept. This is a concept that in NLP I refer to very frequently because I find that this is one of the most effective things to really navigate while you're out living in the world. It's not a technique that you necessarily have to stop what you're doing. It's not like EFT tapping. It's not like meditating. It's not like listening to a hypnosis. This is something that as soon as you become conscious and you're paying attention to your thoughts and your behaviors, you're actually aware of how your unconscious patterns are playing out. And this is why I always tell you that being conscious is literally the most important thing in manifestation. I will never forget when I worked for the New York State Tax Department. I was a sales tax expert for 3 years, and that was the longest I was in any area when I worked for the state. I'm one of the only state employees I know that even left their state agency, let alone left their department. I stayed in sales tax for so long because I love things that are complicated. I love challenges. I love learning. If you had told me at 16 that you're going to love sales tax, I would have laughed at you and be like, I don't know who you're talking to, but it's not me. I loved sales tax because it was so complicated. There were so many nuances. Most people couldn't comprehend it. And there were so many different things that we handled because they realized that sales tax was so complicated that if we could handle sales tax, we were the department that they threw other taxes onto that they didn't have a big enough tax revenue, or they just weren't a big enough department to give their own department to. When I did sales tax, I was a subject matter expert on 9 different areas because I loved challenges. So if you called me and you got me when you called the tax department, you were lucky because I knew everything that you needed to know, from starting a business to the legality, to the compliance, to the technology. Like, I could do all of it, and I could do all of it a lot better than most people. And I am not the one that's going to downplay how good I am at things. Like, I am an amazing employee, minus the fact that I'll challenge you left and right. But I'm great at my jobs. Like, that's something that I always do. And I'll never forget that one time I helped this woman who was the sweetest woman, who was elderly. She had to be in like her 70s, and she had been a doctor for 30 something years. And she had recently moved to New York State, and she was trying to get her medical practice up and running. And New York State, literally, they go out of their way to make it so difficult for you to form a business and for you to maintain a business in New York State. Like, it's actually insane. And I'll never forget, she was so thankful because I think I was on the phone with this woman for like an hour and a half because we went over everything. And I was able to. And my thing is like, I would rather help you. I see how difficult they make it for you. If you can just listen to me and talk with me for an hour and a half and take notes and know exactly what you're doing, you'll set yourself up for success for the rest of your life. You'll never have to call us again. You'll never have questions. This will save you thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars of hiring accountants, lawyers, tax professionals, whatever. So this woman was so grateful because she realized that. And she was like, I just don't know how to thank you. And I was like, it's my job. Like, this is what I do. And she was like, I'm going to give you the best advice I have really formed over my 30 plus years of being a doctor. And she was like, keep learning, keep using your brain, keep challenging yourself every single day. It's going to make it so you don't get Alzheimer's. Your brain will be so healthy. Now, don't take this as medical advice. I cannot legally give you medical advice, but I just want to reiterate how important it is for you to use your brain. And what's ironic is, while I'm so greatly appreciative and I still remember that conversation to today, I'm the last person she had to tell that to, because I have been learning and learning and learning every single day of my life. Where a lot of people, they stop learning after high school, they stop learning after college, they don't challenge themselves, they work in the same career for 30 years, they do the same things, they live in the same town, they drive the same roads, they do the same thing on repeat all the time. While this might conserve them a lot of energy, this is actually making it so their brain is turning to mush, essentially. They're barely even utilizing it. Now, a perfect example, I have an aunt who's literally the nicest woman in the world. Everyone loves her. She's got more friends than anyone that I've ever met in my entire life. She also worked from the New York State Tax Department. She didn't do taxes though. She worked as a computer operator. And I want to say she worked as a computer operator her entire 30 years while she worked for the state. I remember being 7 years old and we'd go places and she'd be like, Alexa, I need you to remember this for me. To this day, she still writes notes about everything. She can't remember anything, like anything. She will remember weird things like that people like, that it's like, how do you know that? But she will not remember like things that she needs to do or anything. She's got notes everywhere. Even to this day, if you walk into her kitchen, you are going to see her kitchen table completely covered almost with notes of things, of reminders, of things she wants to do, whatever it is. And she's lived in the same house for like 30 plus years. She's lived in the same town her entire life. She worked one job her entire life. So this isn't to like call her out. She's literally one of my favorite people. She's so amazing. But this is just to show you, when you don't challenge yourself, when you don't do new things, your brain is actually suffering, and that is going to play an effect in your real life. Now, me on the other hand, I always laugh because when I started a business, people were like, you need to make a schedule and you need to have this and you need to do that. And I've never done that. I don't put reminders in my phone. I don't put anything on my calendar. I literally, if I make an appointment at some time, if I have something, I know when it is. Like, I know exactly what it is. When I go to the grocery store, I know exactly what I need to get. And of course, I'm human. Sometimes I'll forget something like at the grocery store. But to this day, I don't put anything. Like, if you looked at my calendar, it's completely fucking empty because I don't need my calendar to tell me when I need to do things. It's in my brain and I don't need to keep thinking about it. As long as I am paying attention, fully paying attention, it's in my brain and it's there forever. That's just the way my brain works. And yes, my father is highly, highly intellectual, almost has certifiably a genius IQ, but my mother is not like that at all. So could it be genetics? Maybe, but also I attribute this to how much I learn, how much I change. I do not have a consistent morning routine. I do not have a consistent nightly routine. Are there things that I do every single day? Yes. Do they happen at the same time every single night? No. Do they happen at the same time every single day? No. I do not like monotony. I don't like repetition, because I truly think that it's not challenging me enough. And I want my brain to be healthy. And I'm somebody that really needs to utilize my brain. I went to cosmetology school when I was 19 years old. And I was like, I love hair. I love makeup. I literally couldn't do it though, because I felt like my brain was turning to mush because people were just like having these such surface level conversations, and that's not my vibe. That's also why people will coach on one thing or teach one thing, and I'm like, let's talk about all the things and let's apply them together. It's what I love doing because I care about my brain health. Now, I'm not saying to completely throw away your calendar, or if you have a morning routine that really supports you, to completely throw it out the window. But what I am saying is, where are you being lazy when it's kind of just convenient without realizing how detrimental this could be to your brain health? Now, of course, there's a lot of other things that go into brain health, like what you're eating and what you're drinking and your habits. We will not have time to get into that today. If you're curious on that, you're going to want to join Health Files, which is a program that actually got pushed back because the universe told me to do this challenge. So Health Files will be coming out probably in March. So if you want to join that, you can absolutely join that. That's when we're going to go really deep into the nitty gritty of health, of minerals, of hydration, of sleep, of your circadian rhythm, of brain health, of gut health. Like, we're going to go very, very deeply into all of that. Health Files will be available in my memberships because I think it's very essential for entrepreneurs and non-entrepreneurs to really have healthy lifestyles and healthy habits. And this is something that I have mastered and perfected and dedicated over a decade of my life to. So if you're interested in joining my memberships, either Unapologetic or AOMU, then I would recommend joining the membership if you're interested, because health files will be available in both of those. Another thing that I do that I find is really effective, and it's something that I almost take for granted because I've always done, and that's not true. I haven't always done this. I installed this as a program and a behavior in me when I was around 25 years old, I would say. So it's so funny because right now, I would say I'm turning 35 tomorrow. I would say I've always done that, but it's just I've been doing it for so long. This goes to show you build your personality. You build your beliefs. You're building it all. Because we know so much about epigenetics, it isn't that your genetics, your hereditary genetics are really affecting you. It's more about your environment, nature versus nurture. It's more about nurture and what you're doing. When it comes to changing behaviors and habits, what I notice and see the majority of people doing that aren't successful with changing their habits and behaviors versus what I do and have done for the past decade is a lot of people will say, this is what I want to do. I want to lose this weight. I want to make this money. I want to start the business. I want to learn this new hobby. But what a lot of people do is they say, oh, well, I'll do that tomorrow. Or even if it's something as simple as, I need to go do that, or I need to do that. Oh, well, I'll do it tomorrow. A lot of people are always putting things off. Something with me is if there's something that needs to be done, I do it right away. And I think this is why I'm actually able to not have a calendar, and I'm able to remember literally almost everything. Like, because I'm doing things as they need to be done. I feel like this video is really long at this point because I have so much to say on this topic. So just keep a note out that this will be an upcoming masterclass or program. I need to sit with it to see what it's going to end up being, but just keep your eyes open because I will be going deeper into this. But what I want to say is when it comes to a behavior or habit, stop putting it off. Stop telling yourself, oh, tomorrow I'll do this. Start doing it in the moment. When you notice something needs to be done, do it. When you notice that you want to change something and you're still engaging in it, stop doing it. Like in that moment. This moment right now is when you are living. This is when you're manifesting from. So you need to start making the changes now. And this is the same with thought work. When you notice that you are engaging in an unwanted belief, or you're thinking a thought that isn't in alignment with your desired reality, stop yourself immediately and flip it. I always say pick the opposite thought of that. If you're thinking about lack of money and you're thinking about how money is a limited resource and it's always running out, then the second that you notice you're thinking that thought, you are going to start thinking about how money is an unlimited resource and it's always on its way to you. It's in abundance. It's always overflowing. The more you can notice the thought when you're thinking it and reprogram yourself to start thinking an opposite belief, to flip the script there, that is when you're actually going to be forming new neural pathways because your brain is probably programmed towards scarcity. I would say 99% of people's brains are. It's going to be up to you to do the work to reprogram that. So anytime you notice that you're speaking about a lack of money, you're going to flip that. You're going to stop saying it. You're not even going to say it. You're going to get to a point where you won't even be speaking it because you're going to start being conscious. This is what I want you to do. Anytime you notice you're engaging in an unwanted thought, an unwanted behavior, you're going to stop in the moment. This is a pattern interrupt. Every time you stop with your unconscious belief or behavior and you instead decide to do it differently, to think differently, every time you do that, you are building more neuroplasticity. Every time you consistently do that in the same area, you are building a new neural pathway. The more consistent, the more dedicated you are, the more you do it for, commitment, dedication, it's required. A lot of people are trying to be lazy with mindset work. It's not going to work. That will not work. You cannot be lazy with your mindset work. You have to be diligent. Just like if you wanted to have a healthy body, you couldn't be lazy with working out. You couldn't be lazy with what you're eating. You need to be hyper vigilant and be on a mental diet of what you're thinking every single time. Every single time you notice that unwanted thought, that unwanted behavior, you're going to stop it in the moment and you're going to flip it. And this is going to take a lot of work. It's literally going to take a lot of energy too. But if you do this consistently for around 90 days, you're going to form a completely new neural pathway and you will have rewired your brain. And after that point, it will be on autopilot. So just like brushing your teeth or tying your shoes, you're not going to have to consciously think this thought because you will have consciously and unconsciously installed the new belief, so that way the thoughts that you think now and the behaviors that you take now are in alignment with the new program that you have installed. So let me know how this one went for you. I know that this one is probably longer. I'll see when I edit it. We'll see how long it ends up being. But thank you for being here for this entire one because this is so powerful. Let me know how this landed for you. Price of this program is going to keep going up, and it's actually going to go up exponentially because the amount of value that's in this program and the amount of life-changing results that are happening already, and we're only on day 18, is insane. You are going to want to have lifetime access to because it is that powerful. So make sure you join the program right now because first thing tomorrow morning, it's going up $100 and it's going to keep going up a lot. So you're going to kick yourself if you don't join now. All right. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. I will see you tomorrow.